Just get it all out. Get it all out. Just get it all out. Get it all out.
Happy Women's History Month, Dr. Glass.
Oh my goodness. Hi, you look so adorable.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you, Dr. Glass.
Thank you. And thank you for giving me the honor of joining your show.
You're welcome.
Well, it's so nice to meet you. You look very professional and ready.
You too.
Thank you. And I love your hair, by the way.
Thank you.
International Women's History Month to you as well. And how old are you?
6.
6. Nice. Do you need to do a big dance? Have a dance break right quick? Just get it all out. Get it all out. Okay. Just get it all out. Okay. Get it all out. Okay. Okay.
Please tell me a little bit about yourself, Dr. Glass.
Well, I am a veterinarian, and that means that I treat animals and help them to get better. But exactly like the dog. So that means I also love animals. And I really enjoy working with them every day, helping them go from sick to healthy or sad to happy. And sometimes they're already happy and they just leave even happier, which is great too.
How long have you been practicing, Dr. Glass?
So I have been a veterinarian practicing medicine since 2015, meaning, let me do the math. That means it's been a little over 7 years.
That's longer than you've been alive.
That's longer than you've been alive. Yes, that's right.
What inspired you to start doing this?
You mean being a veterinarian? So I grew up loving animals. So when I was your age, I would watch all kinds of shows where I could learn about animals and science. And I loved it so much that by the time I got to college, I said, you know what? I'm going to continue to learn about animals. And then I decided, veterinarians are doctors who get to treat animals every single day. So why not try doing that? I think that'd be a good fit for me. And then I'd be called Dr. Glass. And that sounds pretty professional and legit. So I said, let's go for it. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Where did you go to school?
So I went to college at Prairie A&M University, which is an HBCU. Do you know what an HBCU is? Okay, so I really enjoyed going to Prairie, and then once I graduated, I went to Cornell University, that's all the way in New York, and from there, I learned all about animals and how to treat them, and then I graduated.
New York, how cool is that?
What made you think about HBCUs?
So the main reason why I went to Prairie View is because I got scholarships. You know what scholarships are? Scholarships are when people give you money and you don't have to pay it yourself. You get to use other people's money. So because makes sense? Exactly. So I was able to get a scholarship not only because of good grades, which is an academic scholarship, but I also got a scholarship because of being good in sports. So I got an athletic scholarship. And with both of those, I was able to graduate from Prairie View without having to pay them any money. So and on top of that, I really liked Prairie View A&M University. I thought the campus was beautiful. Both of my parents went there. They even met and fell in love when they were on campus. business. So I said, well, let me try going to Prairie. They're going to give me this money. I'll be able to graduate and then go from there. So if you can, you're going to work real hard so that you can get some good grades so that people will give you money so that you can go to college, okay?
That is the goal, girlfriend.
What sport did you play?
I played golf. Do you know what golf is?
What?
Like putt golf? Yeah. So I did that.
How incredible is that? I had no idea.
And when I was, I think I was in middle school. So I was probably 12, 13 when I first learned how to play golf. And I played golf through a program called the First Tee. And the First Tee program helps young people like you to not only learn the game of golf, but also get resources like golf clubs and things like that. And you also not have to pay for them. I was able to get coaching lessons. I was able to visit different golf courses across the city. And from there, I liked it so much that I continued playing it through high school, and I got good enough where I got a scholarship for it.
That's amazing.
So towards the end, I was wondering, could you teach me a little bit how to treat animals?
Okay, so what do you want to know?
I want to know, like, if they have their leg hurt.
Okay,
Speak up.
So if a dog comes in to the exam room and their leg is hurt, I start by doing what's called a physical exam. So I start from the nose and I end at the tail. So I'll look in their eyes, I'll look at their nose, I'll even look in their mouth. Sometimes like the dentist tells you to say, ah, I'll say the same thing to the dog and I open up their mouth and I look at their tongue and all their teeth and all of that. And then I feel their head, I feel their neck. Exactly what you're doing. Exactly. And then I feel their whole body, I feel their belly. I use the stethoscope like what you have. I use the stethoscope to listen to their hearts, their lungs. Exactly. I do that. And I make sure that that's all good. Then I feel all along their back. And then I feel their belly. I make sure that the belly isn't painful. I looked up the tail and I make sure that the tail is all good. Exactly. And usually what I try to do is if a part is if there's a particular area that the pet is painful, I try to leave that for the last. So if they're coming in for a painful leg, then I'll look at their legs last. And then I just test out their leg in all kinds of ways. I make sure I feel their leg. I check for what's called a range of motion. So I'm going to check and make sure that their joints are working, whether they're flexing or extending the joint. And then I try to see if I can find where they are the most painful on their leg. And then from there, I'll determine if I need to do something like x-rays or if I need to get pain meds, or even a bandage, a splint, a cast, something like that.
And I know if the nose is wet, that means it's not sick. But if it's dry, it's not sick.
As long as the nose the nose should be a little bit wet, the nose is dry, then sometimes that's not a good sign. And then I also check to see if there is any drainage from the nose. If it looks like they have snot coming out of the nose, that can be a bad sign too. So we look at all of those things.
Do you have any hobbies outside of your work?
Yes. You want to guess what one of my favorite hobbies is?
Going to a place where you can see dolphins.
You know what? That is a nice hobby, like an aquarium or something like that, or going on like a boat cruise where I can see dolphins. I have done that in the past. But one of my favorite things to do is to take naps.
Me too.
I'm saying
one of my favorite things to do is I like naps. I like bubble baths. I like reading books.
Me too. I like reading books.
You love reading books? Aren't books amazing? Yes. And I also like I like eating good food. That's why I have to work out and stay in the gym, because I like food a whole lot.
What's been the most rewarding part of your job?
The most rewarding part of my job is when a dog comes in or a cat comes in and they are not feeling the best. They're feeling a little under the weather. They're a little in pain, or they're a little sad. And I get to not only make the pet feel better, but the people who are the pet owners, so the pet parents, also get to be happy as well, because now their pet is happy. So that's not only am I helping the pet, but I'm also helping the family too. So that's the most rewarding part of my job. Oh, that's an applause. Thank you.
This is the coolest thing you experienced.
Coolest thing is when there's like this mystery that's happening, where a pet is dealing with something that a lot of people don't understand. It's like a big mystery. It's a big problem that a lot of people haven't solved.
Like a big puzzle.
And then I see
It's like a big puzzle.
Yes, like a big puzzle.
They can't figure it out, but nobody noticed that. Like, it was a Rubik's Cube, but nobody noticed it was locked. So it can't move. But everybody tried to move it, but it was locked. And only
so
one person
I get that.
I
get that puzzle. I get that Rubik's Cube. And then I start to think about stuff. And I do my exam. And then I do my different tests. And then I'm like, you know what? I have an hypothesis. I have a theory of what it may be. And then I follow through. And then, lo and behold, I found the missing piece and the problem is solved. And not only is the pet better, but the family is happy too. And that's the coolest part.
You know this guy?
That's Bucky the Beaver. I'm from Texas. Of course I know who that is.
What has been the most disappointing experience?
Sometimes the most disappointing thing can be working with animals that are just angry. Like an angry cat that's like hissing, and you can
birds that are mad because they haven't had food.
Yeah, or they may also be just very scared, or they may be in a lot of pain and they don't want you to touch them, and so and sometimes because they're so scared, and they're angry, sometimes they can they may want to bite or they want to scratch, and now I could be injured, and then I'm in pain, and I don't want that.
What has been your greatest challenge?
My greatest challenge is to be a veterinarian and a Black woman in the profession, because it's something where there's not a whole lot of us. So to work in that field and and to be successful and things like that. It has been a long journey, but once I decided to step out on my own and essentially be my own boss, it made it a lot better.
What piece of advice would you do about STEM careers?
So what I would tell you about STEM fields is that it's going to be very important in order to become a veterinarian, you do have to have a good foundation in STEM. And actually, I prefer STEAM. So instead of, so it'll be science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. Okay, I love the arts, and I think that the arts are a great way of making sure that your creativity stays stimulated. Because the more creative you are, the more open-minded you are, and the more that you can imagine other solutions and problems, and even with your critical thinking. But as a veterinarian, you have to be good in those different subjects like science and math and technology and engineering. And because you need to use all of those things in order to treat your pets and make sure that they are going to get better. So I would say to make sure that you focus in your class, focus and get good grades, and continue going all the way through elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and beyond.
Do you have a favorite animal?
I do, but it's a little complicated because, of course, I'm a veterinarian, so I don't have just one favorite animal. My favorite animal of the sea is the cuttlefish. Cuttlefish are really cool animals. They get to... Sorry. So my favorite animal of the sea is the cuttlefish. Cuttlefish are called the chameleon of the sea. They not only can change the color of their skin and of their tentacles, but they can even change the texture. It'll change from being smooth to even bumpy like a rock. And I think that that's really, really cool.
And it can hide in the ocean and camouflage itself, so none will try to eat it.
Exactly. That's exactly what a cuttlefish does. My favorite animal of the air is the owl. I think that the owls are some of the most beautiful and majestic creatures. They are very mysterious, and because they have special feathers, they can fly right over your head, and you don't even feel the air moving. You won't even hear them. It's almost like a ghost went by. But owls are really cool, and they make a cool hoot sound. And then my favorite animal of Earth is the cheetah. So the cheetah, not only are cheetahs beautiful, I mean, they look like they have beautiful makeup, right? But they're also very sleek, they're fast, and they're almost like the sports car, but of the animal world. And of course, my favorite house pet is going to be a dog.
Wow.
And starfish do too, camouflage like the fish.
Sometimes, yes, they can.
Like the cuttlefish.
Sometimes, but seahorses are good too at camouflage. There's some seahorses that will camouflage even with kelp or seaweed.
And octopus.
Yes, and octopus.
Look at you, little aquamarine.
Does being a veterinarian automatically make you a vegetarian?
No.
She said,
I like my scallops. I like my shrimp. I like my chicken. I like my turkey. I eat my Thanksgiving turkey with my cranberry sauce. I like my fish. I like my red snapper and salmon and I like all of that. Now, I may not eat a whole lot of it, but just because you're a veterinarian doesn't mean that you have to be a vegetarian or even vegan. You don't have to be. But there are some that do make that choice when it comes to their diet. I am not one of
them. Okay.
Oh, and I also like my crawfish. I didn't say crawfish. I like my crawfish too.
We had a craw boil for a wedding.
And my crabs. I'm going to eat my blue crabs in blue crab season.
A lot of snap things you have to break before you eat them.
But it's good eating when you get to it.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Do you recognize this symbol?
Yes. That is the golden rectangle from National Geographic.
It's okay. She contributed to it, I think, in some way or another. She participated on something. You want to ask her that?
Yes, so I was on a show called Vet School, which was on Nat Geo Wild. And you have a lot of National Geographic magazines. Look at you.
She had a subscription at one time. It was a birthday gift, so that's where she got it.
I just gifted my niece and nephew the same thing.
Yeah. Did you hear what she said, Karis? She was on a show. How cool is that?
Really good.
Really, really cool. She's an amazing person.
Me too.
You too?
I did gymnastics too.
Oh, you're amazing too. Of course, you're amazing. I was just saying your access to her is pretty incredible. It may not mean you may not completely understand it right now, but when you look back on it later in life, you're going to say, wow.
If you could tell your 6-year-old self something, what would that be?
Encouraging.
I would tell my 6-year-old self that you are beautiful, you are smart, you are amazing, and you are fabulous. From your brown skin to your kinky hair to your wonderful smile to everything in between. And that whatever you want to do, you can do it, and you can be fabulous doing it as well.
What do you have to say about that, girl?
Thank
you.
You're welcome. And thank you for showing up as a doctor yourself. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time with KarisTV during this interview.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me, and it was a pleasure. And I'm so honored to be a part of KarisTV.
Thank you. Bye, Dr. Glass.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Glass. I appreciate you. I know I wasn't over here, but thank you so much.
I'm sorry it took so long to make this happen, but it finally did, and I loved every second of it.
It was awesome.